Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you my desk tissues. As you know, recently I have suffered with the dreaded cold and everywhere I went I had to have tissues with me on my desk, in my car, in my handbag, in pockets. They're just everywhere and it was driving me crazy. Which then led me to think of also people that do suffer with colds and they're at work, and it's pretty rubbish, isn't it, when you've got to have that pack of tissues out on your desk looking all miserable and making you feel miserable. And so I thought, well, why not create a little tissue box holder, little pack of travel tissues. But I think the main important part for this is this sentiment, because you are fabulous. Even if you've got a cold and you're feeling rubbish, you just need someone to put a smile on your face and say, do you know what, don't worry, this will pass. You are fabulous, you are wonderful, you are amazing. And you know, I think it's important for us women to feel good, especially when we feel rubbish, because we still have so much to do. And so yeah, so this was really just a little bit of a, I know you're under the weather, here's some tissues, but you are fabulous, don't forget that. And I don't know, I just really liked it. And then obviously I've got this little detail here of a little bit of stamping and beautiful bird banter elements here. I know that this bird banter suite has been used quite a lot, but in my projects, and I've actually made quite a few because I have a little craft talk well, actually it's this evening when I'm filming, but it will have been last week or the week before. So I've done them in quite a few different colours. I've tipped them up so you can see them, but they do sit just like this on a desk. So they're easy to get to, and I've done them in all the different colours with different DSPs, and I just think they look ace. I love them. I love how they've turned out. So hey, enough waffling. Let's show you how I made them. So, to start off with then, with your easel, stand, whatever you want to call it, you're going to need a sheet of cardstock that is 3 1/4 by 11 inches, and that's 8.5 by 23.5 centimetres. And then on the long side, we are going to score at 1 inch, 4.5 inches and 9 inches, and in centimetres that will be 2.5, 11.5 and 20.5. And while I've got my scoreboard, we may as well do what we need to do with this piece. So then you're going to need, for the actual box for the tissues to sit in, a piece of cardstock that is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 inches, and that's 16 by 16 centimetres. You may have to adjust slightly dependent on your packet of tissues. As you can see, I'm using Wilko's here. They do vary slightly in size, but all are generically the same, so hopefully they won't be too much of an issue. So with your tissue box, shall we call it, cardstock, you simply need to score at 1 and 2 inches on 3 sides. So obviously it's a square, so there's no long and short side. So it's 1 and 2 inches, 2.5 and 5 centimetres. So score one side, rotate clockwise and score again at 1 and 2 inches, 2.5, 5 centimetres. Rotate again clockwise, score again at 1 and 2 inches, 2.5 and 5 centimetres, and that is it. So you have 3 sides that are scored upon. Okay. So we'll make this box up. It's very simple. Fold and burnish all of those pretty score lines. Okay, then we need to do some cutting. So if you think of, if you fold it round as it would be, you imagine this is how your tissues are going to sit in. Okay, so it's delightful, somebody walking past with their music on really loud on their phone. So we have the 2 long sides here, and then we have 4 squares. So what you need to do is cut sideways into the squares. So we'll do that on both sides. sideways into those squares. Okay, so you've got this effect now. Then you need to cut away the bottom two completely, and I'm going to cut a small wedge into that bottom piece as well. Okay, so we've cut those two bottoms completely away and we're left with this. And then these ones we're going to cut away one square, and we're going to create a tab by cutting our wedges. Okay, and we're going to do that both sides, so cut away one square and then cut our little wedges out. So you're left with this. Then we need to add our DSP and this is the reverse side of this beautiful one here. This is Petal Pink that I'm using here. So your DSP for your front panel is 4 by 2 inches, which is 10.5 by 5.5 centimetres. And then you'll need 2 for the side panels, which are 4 by 3/4 of an inch, and in centimetres 10.5 by 2 centimetres. And pop those on. Okay, so then the next thing we need to do is add some adhesive onto these little tabs here. Again, any adhesive that you wish to use is fine. I'm going with Tear and Tape again just because it's quicker and easier for me. Take your pick, take that backing off. And then we're literally going to fold these up and round so they adhere to the sides that you have your DSP on. Just line those bits up. Okay, now this next bit I actually found easiest to pop your tissues inside. Now again, if you recall, when I do stuff that involves putting something inside, if you pop this bottom tab in first, the chances are when you come to put your tissues in, you're going to keep hitting it. So I'm going to put it on the outside because it's glued in here. Nobody can see it, so it makes sense. Now, if you want to add some adhesive on these two parts here, then you can do. Make sure you only put it at the side, because if you put it all the way across, it's going to stick to your tissues, and you don't want that. This is simply to hold these in place, so that's why I'm just using a little bit of snail, and then my trusty Tear and Tape now is going over the top of that. Oh, crumbs, that's a little bit long. It's better. Well, this is where this now sticks to me and I can't get rid of it. Get off, thank you. So I'm going to put plenty of this on because I suspect this will be used fairly frequently. Certainly going to have one on my desk because I always need a tissue, and it's usually more from hay fever. Dreaded hay fever. So as you can see, 4 long strips. They're also holding that piece in place at the bottom, that little tab. And so that's that part done for the moment. I'm just going to pop that to one side because I want to come back to this lovely long piece. So if you look at it, you will see we have that 1 inch strip there. We have a smaller panel here and a long panel here, and then a wider panel at the bottom. It's the long panel that you need, and I've used the beautiful stitched all around, and this is the long delightful element that I'm using on this one. And obviously I need my coordinating ink, my Petal Pink. So I have this beautiful stamp, and I'm literally just going to put this as close as I can, also checking the top and the bottom space, and I'm just simply stamping that on the edges. That's that part done. Put this away because I'm a very good girl. And then completely in the wrong place as well. So now I can fold and burnish these score lines. And then I'm going to come back in now with my tear and tape, and obviously you will now work out that this now folds, and you can fold either or. You can fold the inch tab inside or you can put it on the outside, it doesn't matter. Mine have all gone on the outside simply again because it's going on the desk. You can't see the join, but you can see inside. So my theory was to put it on the bottom and then it doesn't get seen when it's on the desk. So opposite side to where you've stamped. So on the back now we're going to run some, again, tear and tape, wet glue, whatever you want to use on the inside of here. And you will notice that I always tend to add a couple of strips, and it's just, I just like stuff to make sure it's sticking. There's going to be nothing worse than you gift this to a friend and they take it away and it falls to pieces. It doesn't, that's just not me. I don't know. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly, even if it takes an extra minute. So I'm just going to pop that. And then, as I said, this goes underneath, so I'm just tucking the corner of this into that crease. I've got my fingers either side to make sure it's in line, and I'm simply folding that over. And then I just press it down, and there is my stand with my beautiful stamping. In comes my tissues now. So take the backing off all 4 of these strips. I love Petal Pink. It's such a pretty colour. Petal Pink and Grey Granite, or Granite, my favourite colours, completely. What are your favourites? I just always seem to go back to these colours every time. Right, so tear and tape is now off, so that's nice and sticky. What I do is I put my stand on the table as it would. I then put my tissues in front, and I make sure initially that I'm happy with the alignment. So I've got an equal gap either side. I make sure that my stamping looks equal because it's quite close to the edge anyway. And then all I simply do is push the bottom of the tissue box to the stand, which it is now touching, and then I just roll it all up in place. And as it's happened, this one actually hasn't gone straight, which is fabulous. Because the tissues are inside, I've got my fingers in the back here, just gently pressing all the way down to make sure that adhesive's stuck. And it is a bit wonky, but there is my tissue box. The reason I've done it this way and not stuck it on when it was flat is just because I think you get, it just seems to sit better, and it means that this is all flush here. Okay, so to decorate, beautiful stitched labels. I already have my little label die cut out, so it's this beautiful one out of here from the stitched labels, which again coordinates with the stitch all around. And then I have, oops, nearly forgot. I always forget this bit. Why do I always forget? 1/2 inch circle punch in the top, because let's be fair, once you have passed your tissues to a friend, you're going to take them out of this cellophane, aren't you? So that they're easier to get out. So you can just simply pull one out from the top. So don't forget that little notch. Okay, back to decorating. So, got my beautiful label. Oh darling, you are fabulous. I love that set. Do you know when I first saw it, I actually didn't like it. I thought, who would ever use that? That's ridiculous. But now I do. I love it. So I'm going to use some embossing powder on this. So Embossing Buddy to get rid of any of the grease off my fingers. I then have my Versamark and my stamp. And again, you would normally do this, then die cut it to make sure your sentiment's straight. But I am completely different. So I'm going with doing it this way. And thankfully, it is straight. And then I need my white embossing powder. And a lady mentioned in one of my previous videos, she said, I don't understand what your spoon holder is. And it's this. They're just so clever. They just stick on the lid, look. And then my spoon will either slide out or pop out. Fabulous. Doesn't get covered in, because I used to have them just in the dish like this, and then I'd get powder over my fingers and it was just frustrating. But now I just slide my spoon in there, no more powder. It's fabulous. I love you, Tina. So, heating and embossing this beautiful sentiment. Be careful not to burn your fingers if you are doing it this way, because obviously I'm quite close to my heat tool here. But I'm just going to heat that up. Doesn't take very long at all, but I'm just going to turn it around because it was a little bit warm there. Okay, that's that bit done. Move that out of the way. And then I'm just simply going to pop some dimensionals on the back. And remember, it's not as wide as your sentiment, your tissue box. It does overhang, so don't get popping those dimensionals right on the side or they're going to overhang. And then this is simply going to go on my box. And again, I can use those tissues inside as a little sponge to press those down. And then last but not least, the beautiful Bird Ballad trinkets. Did I call it Bird Banter? That was one from like 2 years ago. Anyway, what shall we go with on here? I think a pretty little bow would work so well on here. And I've just got a little glue dot and my take your pick tool, which I would be lost without. And I'm just going to stick my bow onto the glue dot, pick it off, and then I'm just sitting it just there. Perfect. There we go. And there is my desk tissue box. Aplenty. I have lots of different colours and variations. Hope you like them. And I hope you don't suffer with a cold, but if you do, have one of these on your desk. Don't forget, all of these items can be purchased. You can buy them through me as a demonstrator. Just click on the link either below in the description to go to the store, or on my blog where all the products are listed after all the information. Now is a fabulous time as well. This month, July 2019, is a fabulous month to join because you get extra goodies. Again, if you want to know more, just pop over to my blog and have a look. Thank you for joining me. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.